Level 1. The applicant. You are 23 years old. You are sitting in a federal building in downtown Atlanta, filling out a form that is 127 pages long. The form asks about every address you have lived at since birth, every foreign country you have visited, every person who owes you money, every person you owe money to, every time you have used a controlled substance, including the time in college you don't want to write down, but write down anyway because the form tells you that lying is worse than the truth, and you believe it. You applied 8 months ago. You have been through the written exam, the physical fitness test, push-ups, sit-ups, chin-ups, a 1.5-mile run in under 12 minutes. The panel interview, the polygraph, 6 hours in a chair with electrodes on your fingers, being asked the same questions in different orders by a man who never changes his expression. At one point, he asks if you have ever done anything your family would be ashamed of. You think for a long time before answering. That pause tells him something. He writes it down. You are not yet an agent. You are not even a trainee. You are a person who wants to be considered. The Secret Service receives around 15,000 applications every year. About 1,300 people make it to the conditional offer stage. You are one of them. You don't know yet what you are walking into. You just know you want in. Level 2. The trainee. You report to Glencoe, Georgia, in January. The Federal Law Enforcement Training Center sits on 1,600 acres of flat South Georgia land. It has 26 firearms ranges, 16 driving courses, and a mock neighborhood built in 2013 specifically for training scenarios. You will spend 11 weeks here completing the Criminal Investigator training program alongside recruits from ATF, HSI, the FDA, and a dozen other agencies you have never heard of. Your bunk is a single-occupancy military-style room. The schedule leaves you no time to think about whether you made the right decision. A typical day is 10 hours back-to-back firearms in the morning, defensive tactics in the afternoon, case law, and academic testing until 9 p.m. You eat fast, you sleep hard, you do it again. In week 3, you run a mock criminal investigation from start to finish. You interview witnesses. You write affidavits. You sit in a moot courtroom and argue your case in front of an instructor playing a federal judge. You lose. You write the debrief at midnight and submit it before 6 a.m. After Glencoe, you fly to Laurel, Maryland. The James J. Rowley Training Center is 500 acres of classified federal land outside Washington. It has a mock Beltsville field office, a shoot house, a J-turn driving course, a 250,000-gallon indoor water safety tank, and parked on the backlot replicas of Air Force One and Marine One that trainees use for advanced work exercises. You will spend the next 17 weeks here. This is where Glencoe ends, and the Secret Service begins. The first week at Rowley, an instructor tells your class something that stays with you. He says, "In this job, success is invisible. Nobody sees the thing that doesn't happen. Nobody writes a headline about the assassination that didn't occur. The only time the world knows you exist is when something goes wrong. That is your life now. Invisible success, visible failure. Get used to it." You graduate in June. You pin on your credentials. You are a special agent of the United States Secret Service at grade Good Luck 07. Your annual salary, including law enforcement availability pay, is $84,060. Your first assignment is the Charlotte Field Office. Level 3. The Field Agent. Charlotte is not what you imagined. You imagined motorcades and earpieces and standing outside the Oval Office with your hands crossed in front of you. What you actually do for the first 2 years is financial crimes investigations. Counterfeiting, credit card fraud, identity theft rings that operate across 4 states. You spend more time in front of a computer than you do on protection details. This surprises most new agents. The Secret Service's original mandate, the one it was founded for in 1865, the same year Lincoln was shot, was not protecting presidents. It was fighting counterfeit currency. Protection came later, informally, then officially, after McKinley was assassinated in 1901. The agency still carries both missions. As a field agent, you carry both of them at the same time. You work on a currency counterfeiting case for 7 months. You track a sophisticated print operation moving fake 20s through convenience stores from Greensboro to Raleigh. You execute a search warrant on a Thursday afternoon. You find 3 printers, 2 laminators, and a man sitting at a kitchen table who looks more tired than scared. You put on gloves, you catalog evidence, you write the report, you testify before a grand jury, the case closes. You start the next one. On weekends, you rotate through protective details. When a cabinet secretary visits Charlotte, you work the rope line. When a former president passes through on a private trip, you stand post in a hotel corridor for 8 hours without sitting down. Nobody speaks to you. You do not speak to anyone. You watch the door. Your girlfriend asks you about your week. You say it was fine. She asks what that means. You say it means fine. At the 2-year mark, you apply for your protective assignment. This is Phase 2, the part of the career that the agency considers its core. You request the Presidential Protective Detail. You do not get it. Not yet. You get the Vice Presidential Protective Detail instead. Level 4, the Protector. The Vice Presidential Detail is where you learn what protection actually costs. The VP travels constantly. Senate votes, fundraisers, foreign trips, ceremonial appearances, and campaign events during election years. You are on the road more than you are home. Your apartment in Alexandria, Virginia becomes a place where you keep clothes and receive mail. It does not feel like where you live. It feels like a storage unit with a bed. The schedule is not negotiable. An email from Ops, the operational nucleus of the agency, arrives. And it does not ask. It tells. The trip is extended. Your sister's wedding is the same weekend. You call her and explain. She says she understands. The way she says it tells you she doesn't quite. You don't blame her. You don't fully understand it yourself. You learn the advanced work. Weeks before any protectee arrives anywhere, advance agents go in first. They walk every corridor of the hotel. They meet with local law enforcement. They identify the nearest trauma center and the fastest route to it. They sweep the venue, the restaurant, the gymnasium, and the parking structure. They build a sitebook, a document that maps every entry, every exit, every potential threat vector. Then the protectee arrives, and you execute the plan. Something a veteran agent tells you early on. Every time you take the principal out of a secured location, you introduce risk. Your entire job is managing risk you can never fully eliminate. There is no such thing as perfect security. There is only preparation thorough enough that luck doesn't get to decide. You work on the VP's foreign trips. Copenhagen, Riyadh, Seoul. You stand in rooms where history is being made, and your entire focus is a 12-inch perimeter around one human being. You do not listen to what is being said. You watch your hands. You watch eyes. You watch the door. 4 years in, you get the call. The Presidential Protective Detail, PPD. You are 29 years old. Level 5, the Shadow. PPD is different in ways that are hard to explain to anyone who hasn't been on it. The hours are not worse than the VP detail. They are simply more absolute. There are no exceptions for personal circumstances. There is no calling in. There is no rescheduling. The President of the United States does not pause because an agent has a conflict. Your first week on PPD, you walk the grounds of the White House at 5:45 a.m. before the day begins. The South Lawn is wet with dew. The building is lit from inside. You stand at your post, and you think, I am one of maybe 14 people in the world who will stand this close to this man today. 14 out of 330 million. That feeling does not go away, but it changes. In the beginning, it is awe. Later, it becomes quieter. Responsibility without ceremony. A weight you carry because it is your weight, and there is no one else to hand it to. You learn the protectee the way you learn a person you spend every day with. His rhythms, the way he moves when something is bothering him, the route he prefers when he walks to the Oval, the way the room shifts when his mood shifts. You know things about this man that his senior staff does not know because you are always there and they are not. You cannot talk about any of it. The rule is total. What happens on detail stays on detail, not because of an NDA, because of something older and simpler. The job only works if the person you protect can trust that the people around him see nothing and say nothing. You are a witness to history who will never testify. You know things that could fill a book. The book will never be written. Your relationship ends in November. She doesn't ask you to leave the service. She just says she can no longer live with someone who comes home and sits in the dark without speaking. You sit in the dark that night after she leaves. And you understand, for the first time, that the compartmentalization doesn't stay at work. It follows you. It has become the way you exist. You don't sleep much, but in the morning, you are at your post before the president is awake. Level 6. The Advanced Lead. 7 years on PPD. You are now a senior special agent at GS-13. Your salary, with LEAP, is $195,000. You have been on 6 foreign trips to the Middle East, 3 to Asia, and 2 to Europe. You have stood post in rooms with 5 heads of state, 2 prime ministers, and 1 king. You are promoted to Advanced Lead. The Advanced Lead runs the site operation ahead of every presidential movement. You fly in days before the president arrives. You walk every inch of every location. You meet with the host country's security services and tell them, politely but without ambiguity, how things will work. Some of them push back. You do not push back. You explain the non-negotiables, and then you move on. In Riyadh, you spend 4 days in a hotel conference room with Saudi intelligence officials negotiating vehicle positioning for a tarmac ceremony. 4 days on vehicle positioning. On the 5th day, you brief your superiors in Washington. On the 6th day, the president lands, walks 30 feet across the tarmac, shakes hands, and gets back on the plane. The ceremony takes 11 minutes. The preparation took 4 days and 12 people. Nobody will ever know about those 4 days. Nobody will ever write about those 12 people. You do it again in Warsaw, in Tokyo, in Ottawa. One night in a hotel room in Warsaw, you call your father. He asks how things are going. You say, fine. He asks if you're happy. You think about the question longer than he expects. He says hello a second time to check if the line dropped. You say you're here. You say it's a good job. You hang up and sit teen silence. The honest answer, the one you don't say, is that happiness stopped being the right question about 4 years ago. The right question is something closer to, am I doing the thing I was built to do? And the answer to that one is yes. It is always yes. You are not sure what to do with that. Level 7. The Supervisor. GS-14. Supervisory Special Agent. You are 38 years old. You manage a team of 8 agents in the Washington field office. You no longer work the rope line. You no longer stand post in hotel corridors at 3 a.m. You sit in meetings. You review operations plans. You sign off on training certifications and personnel evaluations. You are responsible for the people now, not just the mission. This is harder. The mission was clear. You knew every morning when you woke up what success looked like. Standing where you were supposed to stand, watching what you were supposed to watch. Nothing is happening that was not supposed to happen. The mission had edges. You could see them. Managing people does not have edges. A new agent on your team is burning out after 18 months and doesn't know how to say so. Another one's marriage is disintegrating, and it is affecting his performance, and you have to address the performance without making it worse. A third one is good, genuinely good, the best you've supervised, and she just put in for a transfer to a field office in Miami because her mother is sick and she needs to be close. And you have to let her go even though losing her will hurt the team for a year. You knew when you took the supervisor position that this was part of it. You did not know how much of it there was. Your own life has reorganized itself around the job in ways you are still mapping. You go to the gym at 5 a.m., 5 a.m. because it is the only hour that belongs entirely to you. You see your brother for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and sometimes his birthday. You have not been in a sustained relationship since the one that ended in November 7 years ago. You have tried twice since then. Both times, the same conversation eventually arrived. You are present in the room, but somewhere else entirely. You cannot argue with it. It is accurate. You are not unhappy. That is the strangest part. You are not unhappy. The job fills something that nothing else has ever filled. You just pay for the filling in a currency that doesn't show up on your GS-13 pay stub. Level 8. The Special Agent in Charge. You are 45. GS-15. Special Agent in charge of a major field office. You have 60 agents under your command. You are responsible for protective operations, financial crimes, investigations, cyber investigations, and the coordination of every Secret Service activity in your region. You brief the director twice a month. You brief Congress when they ask. You testify in federal court when the case requires it. One morning, a junior agent comes to your office and closes the door. She has been there for 3 years. She is good. The kind of good you recognize because you were that once. She sits across from you and says she is thinking about leaving. The hours, the travel, the relationship she is watching erodes in real time. She has a daughter who is 2 years old, and she missed her first steps because she was on a detail in Phoenix. You listen. You tell her what you know to be true. The job will take as much as you allow it to take, and you have to decide how much that is. You tell her, some people find the line. You tell her you never fully did. You tell her she has to make the decision that is hers to make. E and U will support either one. She thanks you. She leaves your office. You don't know what she will choose. You sit for a moment in the quiet. On your way, there is a photo from 2019. You are standing outside the Oval Office at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. The hallway is empty. The light is coming through the tall windows at the end of the corridor. You are in a dark suit. You are looking at the camera and not smiling, not because you are unhappy, why, but because, on duty, you do not smile. That was a rule you followed so long that it became a reflex. You remember exactly how that morning felt, the weight of it, the privilege of it, the thing you gave up to stand in that hallway. You would do it again. You have never doubted that. But you understand now, in a way you could not have understood at 23, what the sentence means. What exactly is it that you would give up again? The names and the faces of the cost, the daughter's first steps, the November that ended things, the phone call to your father, where happy stopped being the right question. You would do it again. Level 9. The Director. Director of the United States Secret Service. There is only ever one. You answer to the Secretary of Homeland Security. You brief the President directly. You are responsible for 7,700 employees, a $3.2 billion annual budget, and the physical safety of the President, Vice President, their families, former presidents, major presidential candidates, and 30 foreign heads of state when they visit American soil. The job is not protected anymore. It is an institution. You are not standing at a post. You are building and maintaining the apparatus that puts someone else at that post. Every policy decision you make will be carried out by an agent you may never meet, on a detail you will never personally work. When something goes wrong, and something always, eventually, goes wrong, your name is in the headline. You sit before a Senate committee and explain what failed and why, and what you are doing to ensure it does not happen again. You answer with precision and without excuse. The agency does not make excuses. That was true when you were a good luck 7 inches, Charlotte, and it is true now. What you know that the senators across the table do not fully understand is what perfect protection actually costs. Not in dollars, in people, in lives rearranged around the mission, in relationships that dissolved slowly, in children who learned early that their parents' first job was not for them. You made this institution, and it made you. You are not sure anymore where the line is between the two. You sit in your office the morning after your Senate testimony. The building is quiet. Outside the window, Washington is beginning its day. Cars on Pennsylvania Avenue. Tourists gather at the perimeter fence of the White House. You think about a 2, 3 year old somewhere right now filling out a 1, 2, 7 page form, writing down every address, every trip abroad. The thing from college they don't want to write, but write anyway. They have no idea what they are filling out an application for. They think they know. They think it is motorcades and earpieces. They do not know yet about the Hotel Coriat 3MMM, the November. The phone call to the father, the daughter's first steps, they will not see. They will figure it out. They always do. The cycle continues.